Oh, we are on air? Oh my god. Is everything okay?
One fell.
This is one phone down. 2 more to go. 1 phone down, 2 more to go. We got warranty, people. We got warranty.
That's why I think it's a good idea not to have water glass here.
Yeah, it's a great idea. No water glass. No water glass in that section. Hey, it's Piper. And we are here on this amazing channel. This is a live podcast. And this podcast started, well, a few minutes back, but then we had technical difficulties. That's why live is the best thing ever. And side dropped the phone again. If you hear things in the background, don't worry. It's all cool.
It's all cool. It's all good.
This podcast is named While You Charge. While you wait. Wow, this is starting great. This is starting great. Okay, while you wait to charge your electric vehicles, you listen to the podcast. We bring you entertainment and electrifying details about anything and everything concerning EVs. Oh yeah, I know you're excited about this. This is a new setup. So we have myself here, and then we have a researcher back there on another camera. If you are here in the visuals, well, make sure that you actually share this video. Because it is a video. Yes. You can also listen to it in its podcast format, meaning you don't need to watch it. You can just put the video on your big screen television on the dashboard of your Tesla. We've got Electric Brian, who actually did that. Yeah, he did that. He sent us a post on our X account where it was his Tesla and then us, the podcast While You Wait, right on his big Tesla screen. Why was it on the Tesla screen? Well, that's because Tesla screen have access to internet, meaning YouTube. I know. Everybody's excited about this. Now, we have a live chat comment section, so if you want to participate live in this live podcast, make sure that you turn on all of your notifications for our amazing channel so that you can be here and discuss everything with us. Share your opinion, share these researches you've made, this Facebook meme that you find funny. That is related to EV, of course. We accept all of it. AKA Fumbler says, hello, Piper. Thought I'd say a quick hello. Hope your stream is going well. Well, okay, so the first stream we just attempted to make did not go well. We had to trash it and start over, but we are here now. Thank you very much. Carl the Brewers is here one more time. Yes, one more time. How we end. Good afternoon, Piper X. Yes, good afternoon to you as well. And Midnight Smoke. I got here at the beginning for once. Oh, okay, it's okay if you don't arrive at the right time or at the time of the start of this actual podcast, because you can always listen to it, click on it, do whatever you want with it. It stays on our YouTube channel and you can easily listen while you're in the shower, in your car, or while you wait for anything to be ready in your life or done. Chris Pankage is here. Yeah. Okay, so we got everybody here. The subject of this podcast is 5 myths about electric cars debunked. We have some people in the live comment section that are electric vehicle owners. Oh, we also have people in here who are not electrical vehicles owners, meaning that we will debunk 5 myths about electric cars. Now, we want your opinion. If you found studies that were against, for, and all of these things, you need to put it in there. Yes, we want your true opinion. We don't want you to sugarcoat it. This is supposed to be a discussion, and an intense one too. Carl says he has put us on his big screen. Thank you, Carl. Yeah, you can plug us in your TV. I mean, your LSD. I don't know, LCD. Yeah, I think LSD is a bit different. I mean, it works too, but it just depends on the type of experience you want. Now, with me, I have a researcher. Yeah, researcher, you there?
Yep, I'm here. Sigh.
Meaning that she will be researching or adding on top, of all of these myths and these debunks, some facts and data that she finds on the World Wide Web. Now, again, if you have more to add, please do so. And if you want us to search for something, well, it's great because we're a team, meaning that we can actually search real time for anything that is happening. We have Chris Pankage, who says, myth, the range indicated in the advertisement is not real world driving. Ooh, I love it when we start like this. saying that the range indicated in the advertisement is not real-world driving. Well, isn't it like that for gas vehicles too? I mean, it's an ad. It's an ad. You always say, yeah, this performance is the best, but this is in ideal conditions. All of these advertisements always give you ideal driving conditions, which you will not have if you live in Canada. There's no way you're gonna get ideal driving conditions, right? Yesterday was like raining, right?
Yeah, we don't even have ideal weather conditions. So.
See, no ideal weather conditions, meaning that you can't really like expect that advertisement to be your real ideal conditions. And then if you're purchasing a vehicle from another place in the world, like maybe they've done all these tests kind of in the different province than you, and there's a big difference between province and states. If you're from New Mexico or from Maine, whoa, I mean, well, maybe it's just about Stephen King, but so far it's kind of gonna be very different. Chris Pankage says truth hurts. Oh my god, we're going there. Perfect. Bubs Lightyear just tuned in, and action. Hi Piper, still working here on the East Coast. Peace and love. Well, thank you to everybody who is now tuned in and ready to charge up. We are going over 5 myths about electric cars, and we will be debunking them. Yes, debunking them. There might be more myths you want to add on top of all of this, and more crazy facts that you figured out. So make sure you drop them in the live comment section. We have Chris, who's like on a roll. He says myths. Tires on EVs wear out faster. Only if you have lead foot, just like in ice. Okay, so what is a lead foot? Well, they call lead foot people who drive really fast. With gas vehicles. ICE is internal combustion engine. That's what it means. So it's a gas vehicle. Now EV means electric vehicle. We'll go right into that. Let me ask you this question. Are electric cars really as green as they claim to be? I know it's a big of a thing. A lot of people are saying that they're not that green. Yeah, and this is a big reason why some people, well, don't buy EVs, because of the greenness of them. And then, well, the other reasons we will go over in this amazing podcast. What is an electric vehicle? Yes, I know, thank you very much for the claps and all. It's very appreciated. What is an electric vehicle? An electric vehicle is a vehicle that has no combustion engine, okay? I know you might be like, but Piper, we all know that. Yes, but let's just reiterate, okay, what it really is. Meaning it only has a battery, and you don't really need to change the oil. All you have are tires and an electric battery. Like, that's it. There's nothing else. There's nothing else on there. That is how simple an electric vehicle is, or electric car. So tell me about all of your misconceptions and all of the things you think are debunkable. So far, Chris has brought two myths to the table. He says that tires on EVs wear out faster, and he also says, let me get this one, that the range indicated in the advertisement is not real. So go ahead. We want to hear what you have to say. Now, Howie N says, 1 year in UK, okay, I think it means one myth in UK is batteries end up in landfills. Okay, the one we hear in the UK is that batteries end up in landfill. Well, of course batteries end up in landfill. I mean, batteries are, they're something, just like everything else. Everything ends up in landfills, except for your grandma. She goes to the cemetery. Same but different. Thank you, Grandma. Now, the thing is, landfills, yes, but every car, an engine is the same. Your ICE engine is gonna end up in a landfill as well. There's no way you're gonna evade creating some déchets, some what's the word? Waste. There's no way there's gonna be no waste. We can't live in a no waste world. Nothing is a saying in physics, okay? Rien ne se perd, rien ne se crée, tout se transforme. So rien ne se perd means nothing gets lost. Rien ne se crée, nothing gets created. Tout se transforme means everything transforms. That being said, yes, there's always going to be waste. There has to be. Nothing gets created, everything gets transformed. That's just the way it is. I'm Piper, and I'm here on the channel to talk to you about 5 myths we're gonna debunk about electric cars. Now, make sure that you tune into the podcast. The podcast happens every single day at 12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Saving Time for now. That is Vancouver time. If you are subscribed to the channel, well, you should receive a notification on all of your devices to inform you that we are live right here, right now. I know, you're happy about this. In front of a public. Yeah, a real public. This is so cool. This is so cool. Tell me more misconceptions that you might have about electric vehicles. Okay, so we had a battery going in landfills. What else? What else have you got? What did you see on Facebook? What did you see on X? What are these things that your friends are telling you when you're discussing about EVs? Are you saying, oh, I never want to buy an EV because the batteries, they explode? Like, that's one. That's one that's there. Some other people are saying that, oh, I don't want to buy EV because maybe, well, I can't get to where I want to go. Because in the winter, the battery, well, it doesn't last as long. A bit like what everybody is saying in the live comment section. Okay, so since you're not very cooperating, I'm gonna jump right into it. So the context, let's give you a little bit of context. We talked about electric vehicles. We talked about possible myths. Now, we have EVs. They're there to stay, people. I know you're like, no, I don't want EVs. Well, maybe you're one of these persons that doesn't want them, but they're still there. I mean, Tesla is gaining a lot of popularity. We have other, well, brands like BYD in China that are also gaining a lot of popularity. There's Mercedes, BMW, Chevy, Ford, they're all doing electric vehicles. They are, and you know what? They have to. Yes, they have to make electric vehicles because in many countries, electric vehicles will be the only new vehicles that people are going to be able to buy. Why is that? Because they implemented laws. They implemented laws like in Canada in 2035, all new vehicles sold, we're talking new vehicles sold, have to be electric. I know, it is extreme, but that's just the thing. Dave, where are your awesome questions? This is gonna be great. Now, Chris says EV owners all start out the same shade of green, but depending on their life, they may or may not have as much green energy produced to charge it. Interesting. Okay, we will talk about that too, like the greenness of electric vehicles. It is definitely in my cue cards and in my subjects for this live podcast. I'm Piper, and you're listening to While You Wait, the podcast that entertains and informs you about anything and everything electric vehicle related. Our points for today are gonna be the limited range of electric vehicles, the fact that they are more expensive, how environmentally friendly are they, do they take too long to charge, and the fact that they might not be as safe as gas cars. Now, keep in mind that I'm going to be debunking all of these myths. This is all what it's about. So if you're like, oh yes, I agree. Well, no, you're not supposed to. Because I'm actually going to be debunking this. Like California is green, Texas is not. Okay, so Chris Pankoch is saying that there are some states that are greener than others, much like there are people that are greener than others. Some green people decide to, yes, purchase an electric vehicle for the greenery of it. Why? Climate change. This is a really good point. Climate change is happening right here, right now. In British Columbia, we already, to the date of recording this live podcast, have wildfires. What do these wildfires do? Well, they burn things. By burning things, they create CO2 and a lot of other, well, not very good gases. And all of that is put into our fresh breathing air, and then we breathe that, and then we cough, and then it's not cool. Meaning that's why some Teslas have the biohazard mode, which makes it so that your car turns into this suction, and the air filter actually filters out every particle out there, making your air the freshest ever. Of course, you don't open your window when you activate that. Get it? Okay, perfect. Chris Pankoch says, I've been going to the same beach for 40 years. Okay, so people don't change. That's what he means. I think that's what he means. Like even Al Gore, yes, the Al Gore who did this big documentary on the planet and saving the planet and all of these things. 5 beats. I saw 2 Cybertrucks in the wild in the last couple of days. They look cool. 2 Cybertrucks in the wild.
Wow.
In the wild environment.
That's so in their natural habitat.
What do you think that looks like, Sai? Do you think it's a road, a forest, the water?
The jungle.
The jungle?
The jungle.
Okay. Yeah, it must be jungle love. Will Garcia, thank you so much for tuning in. Oh, yes. AKA Fumblers there too. Now, meaning that all of these electric vehicles are gaining momentum, popularity, call it however you want, because they've been around for approximately, 15 years. Yeah, from 10 to 15 years. Not all EV, but we're talking like EVs in general, in Canada and the United States of America. Now, that being said, they've been around for long enough to, make a difference, have an impact, yes, on climate change and on many other things in the world. The thing is, if we want less CO2 and if people are actually not driving their ICE cars, well, there is less CO2. I recall, do you remember? During the pandemic, when nobody was driving, the skies were clear. I could see further away. There was no smog. And I mean, Vancouver doesn't even really have that much smog, that thing. Why? Because, I mean, Vancouver is a small city, even greater Vancouver area. I think it's like 750,000 people. So it's less than 1 million. It's not that big compared to something as big as New York. But with all of these wildfires, all of these other emissions of CO2 that are not ours necessarily as humans, you need to kind of think of it on it.
How many fires that we have like right now?
Oh yeah, how many fires? How many wildfires in Vancouver? Well, not Vancouver, it's more like BC. In BC, yeah, in BC. Let's see, we are pulling this data for you. Because if you didn't know this, it's a very interesting fun fact about wildfires. Now, wildfires actually will burn everything on the surface, but sometimes they can burn the ground, meaning that the wildfire is actually inside of the earth. We're not talking like volcano style, like not that far, but it's...
There are 3 active.
3 active ones
3
right now?
active right now.
In British Columbia. That's a lot.
In British Columbia.
3 is a lot for the fact that we are only April 29th right now. It's not even summer. I mean, it's literally 11 degrees Celsius out there. It's cold. Why are there wildfires there? So that's what I'm saying. There's a few reasons. Sometimes it is a real wildfire that just started, but other times the wildfires stay dormant. Yeah, they sleep underneath the earth during winter time, and as soon as it gets a bit warmer, well, since it wasn't actually put out, well, the wildfire just like fires up again. A bit like if you've ever seen this magic trick, which is not magic, it's science, people. You take a candle, and then you know when the wick is still, it still has some smoke coming out of it, you can re-wick it. Because there's still enough like heat there that the fire will start all over again. That being said, we are talking about 5 myths about electric cars, and we will be debunking them. So I hope you're ready for this. Yeah, get ready to charge up on the podcast that's called While You Wait for your electric car to charge, for your wife to be done, or for your meal to be ready. You can listen to us in your Tesla. Oh yeah, because I know you've got internet, and an actual screen on board. You can also listen to us on your iPad, your computer, or any other devices that you may own.
We received a picture of a guy that
I know, we received a picture this morning from Electric Brian, who also has a YouTube channel, just putting it out there, on X. Yes, we are on X. We didn't know that. And he actually posted a picture of our podcast, yes, While You Wait. He was listening to it while he was waiting for its Tesla to charge at a charging station, which leads us to one of the very first myths about electric cars. Limited range. A limited range. Okay. The limited range was a thing before, because I remember when I purchased my first electric vehicle. It was the Chevy Volt. Now, this might be a bit of a different subject for a different time, but the Chevy Volt is a sort of EV hybrid. It's a bit complicated. It has a generator. That being said, the range was only 60 kilometers. Now, it had another ICE engine in there. But then when I upgraded it to a newer model, the Chevy Volt 2, well, it actually had 80 kilometers of range. Meaning that if you did purchase your EV back in 2012 or back at the early beginning of electric vehicles, yes, the range was a lot smaller. You could get maybe 100 kilometers out of an EV, and we're talking solely EV, not hybrid. We're talking you have a battery that goes... the first Leaf was like 120, something like that, 120 kilometers that you can get out of the Leaf. That being said, that is not a lot unless you have 2 cars and one you only use to commute in the city or in your town in that sense. Then you would kind of need another car because 120 kilometers is maybe not going to get you to vacation land. And back then also, still need to understand that back then infrastructure for charging was very limited. Plus something like the Leaf would charge on 110 volt or 240, is it 240 or 220? 240. So 240 volt would still take a long time to charge, meaning that you couldn't really get to where you were going if it was, let's say, 2 times 120. So we're talking 240 kilometers to get there. You would have to wait for this huge charge time, charge time. But now it's very different. Now the batteries are better. They can accommodate for a lot more. What I'm saying is that a newer Tesla Model S, can do 402 miles, yes, on one battery full charge. That is exactly the same as most ICE vehicles. So most gas cars that you are going to purchase right now will have the same range. So the range is not a problem anymore. Unless you're buying used, then you will have something shorter. And not only that, but the infrastructure has exploded. You have Tesla superchargers out there. You have private companies who also have superchargers. What's the difference between a supercharger and a not supercharger? Now, if you plug it in 110 volt or a 240, it's charging, but it's not going to charge fast. Meaning on 110, you're looking at maybe like 2.5 days for a 300 kilometer battery. That's what it takes on my Tesla Model X to charge. But if you do have a 240 volts, that might take you about between 12 hours and 24 hours to do the full charge. And then if you go to a supercharger, whoa, you're gonna be electrified about this.
Tesla Model S,
yes?
long range. If you do a full charge, it can go up to 610 kilometers on one charge.
610 kilometers on one charge.
Yeah.
This is good. This is the same thing as a gas vehicle. Thank you for putting that out, Sai.
No worries.
That being said, this is really not a problem anymore. If you are scared of range, we just debunked it. We're so good at this. And plus, well, okay, like I was saying, there's infrastructure everywhere, but your Tesla and some other vehicles, but mostly the Tesla, if you input where you are going, the Tesla will calculate where you need to charge according to where you're going. So you will never miss any battery. You will never be stranded unless like something really crazy happens. But that being said, the Tesla calculates for you to never run out. Yeah, never run out of battery, electricity, and all those things. So you need to keep that in mind. And if you have any other make or model of an electric vehicle, well, it's pretty easy. There are apps out there that allow you to put your point A to point B, and they will tell you where you need to charge according to the percentage of your battery or like the kilometers of your battery. It's a bit like a gas car, you know, you're used to seeing that tank and how big it's filled at, and you kind of know at one point where you need to tank before you run out. Nobody wants to be behind semis all the time. I mean, this is cool, but at one point, you just want to cruise on your own. You don't want to wait for that truck driver to be there so you can spend a little bit less money on gas. We are talking about electric vehicles. My name is Piper, and you are listening to the podcast that's called While You Wait for your electric vehicle to charge. You listen to us anywhere, in your car, while you wait for it to charge, while you are on your lunch break. That happens. You might be on your lunch break and you might want a little bit of entertainment and electric vehicle information. If you do have information, make sure that you subscribe and you log into your YouTube account. That way you can interact with us live during all of our super amazing live that happen at 12 p.m. Vancouver time. We are talking 5 myths about electric car, and we are going to debunk one after the other. I'm just going to go in the live comment section because people right here are talking. Let's see what they're saying. Javier just dropped in. We have Richard Johnson who's there as well. I mean, it's entertaining in there. Okay, you don't need to do that. Walter Johnson says at some parks you can plug in or pit stop recharge on a long trip. Yeah, there are some parks. There's also gas stations are starting to implement some electric vehicles chargers or superchargers. Then that's without saying that there's the Tesla superchargers that are there. Depending on where you are, you might have Flow, Eco. There's many different type of brands, and they all have applications that you can log into to see where they're at and to add them to your route, which makes it very easy. What about Tesla burning tires in 6 months? Oh, good one, Richard Johnson. Actually, we have Chris who talked about this a little bit earlier, meaning that tires, let's dive right into this myth, that tires on electric vehicle would run out faster, meaning they would last less long, or yeah, they wouldn't last as long than on an gas vehicle because of the torque of electric vehicle in general being way more. Like the torque on an electric vehicle is huge. Plus, it is very heavy because of the battery pack, because of everything it's maintaining. That has been debunked by Chris. Chris, if you want to add on to this, please do not be shy of doing that. The thing is, EVs have special tires. Yeah, they do have special tires just for EVs to make sure that these variables are taken into consideration. So when you go to the dealership or when you go to Canadian Tire, you can buy EV tires. They're a little bit different to compensate for that instant torque and to compensate for that heaviness.
They're also designed to roll lightly so that your car uses less energy to move.
Oh.
That's why. Also, that's another factor. So that's why you have, when you accelerate, it accelerate a lot more quickly, which contributes to the tear of the tires.
Thank you, Sai. So you see, we have a researcher there to input and add onto every question you might have. So don't be shy, put it in there. We are going to get through all of our 5 myths about electric cars and how we're going to debunk them so that you love EVs as much as we do. We have here Chris Pankoch who says, how did I get 50,000 miles out of my tires? Chris has a Kona, if I'm not mistaken. He had before a Tesla. So he has had electric vehicles for a while now. He's an early adopter. He even had the Chevy Volt. And he has no problem. Now, and he got 36,000 miles out of his Tesla's tires, which I guess is a lot. I mean, I have no idea, but it's cool. Michael Luder says hello. Well, hello, Michael. Thank you for tuning in. Piper, have you tried doing figure eights burnout in the parking lot?
No, but in the backyard.
Yeah. I've never done it in the parking lot, but you know, I had a little bit of a mansion at one point, and there was a huge front yard. Like, it was big. It was so big. And well, one day it snowed in Vancouver, which happens so very rarely. Like, have you seen snow in Vancouver? Have you assisted
for
that?
4 days.
Exactly. So it happens, but it doesn't really stay that long. And when that happened, I freaked out and took the Tesla Model X for a little spin, which was really fun. Oh, super cool. Okay, I can't take this right now. I'm live. Perfect. That's actually the CRA calling me.
Oh, yeah.
I knew it was going to happen. Yeah, totally CRA. Okay, this is great. I'll catch it later. I'm live. I'll have to call back. That being said, okay, let's get back to our debunking these 5 myths about electric vehicles. Because a lot of you out there, yes, a lot of you have heard or seen things on the internet that might be fake, that might be misinformation. So we want to make sure that everybody has the right information, and then you can do whatever you want with it. We can't really control you anyways, but we try our best to give you the best show ever. So let's get to myth number 2. But before we do so, Sai, did you have anything else to add?
No, I'm good. Let's go.
Okay, perfect. Myth number 2, that electric vehicles are more expensive to purchase and to maintain than gasoline cars. Ooh. Do you know the answer to this question? If you do, please leave it in the comment. Now, that being said, it depends on when, but we are going to talk about this as if we are here right now, okay, people? Right here, right now. The initial cost for an electric vehicle is certainly higher than a gas vehicle. What do I mean by that? If you take all of the electric vehicles, you mix them all up together. I know there's a little bit less electric vehicles in the world and models and makes and all that than there are of gasoline vehicles. Meaning that if you take them all, well, yes, electric vehicles have a little bit of a steeper price in that sense, like in their generality. If you take like the medium price of all of those, it's gonna be more expensive. So that you take into consideration, of course, when you budget or when you want to buy your car, first truck, whatever. Now that you've taken that into consideration, the fact that your EV is going to cost you maybe a bit more than the same gas vehicle, well, you need to consider the other thing. Meaning that, okay, it might be a bit more expensive right now, but will it be more expensive later? If you add up to all of these costs, and yes, we are talking about the cost of gas versus electricity, the cost of maintenance on an electric vehicle versus the maintenance of a gasoline car. These are all things that you need to think about. Why? Because in the end, you're paying for all of these things. Yes, you are. That being said, some people have a budget, let's say of $20,000 to purchase a vehicle. And sometimes you can get a vehicle for $20,000 that is gasoline, but you might not have very many choices in the EV department. So what you can do is either buy a used one, that is totally possible, will give you the same amount of luxury and all that, but it's going to be used, but still you're going to get like all the things or the specs you wanted from a newer vehicle that was a gas vehicle for the same price. That is definitely possible. Or what you can do, well, is maybe get one of those incentives. There are tax incentives, right?
Yes, so
yeah.
the US and Canada both have tax incentive for buying EVs. Like in US, the federal government gives you $7,500 for new EVs and $4,000 for used EVs.
See, that's a pretty good thing. Meaning you need to count that into your budget too. So by Googling or asking the dealer, go get these incentives. Go get them. Meaning that the cost of your EV might be a bit lower than what you're actually thinking, because usually the cost of a gas car, there's going to be like no rebate on it or no incentives or no nothing like that. In general. Okay, so that being said, your EV might cost you a little bit more than your gas car, but will it really cost you more? Electricity versus gasoline. Electricity in most provinces and states is cheaper, and we're talking US, Canada, than gas. It's cheaper in most, okay, not all of them. So you need to look at where you're at in the world and see if that is your very own let's call it like that, your very own situation. But if electricity is cheaper where you are than gasoline, that means that every time you will fill up your electric vehicle, you will literally be saving money that you would not have been saving when you're buying a gas vehicle. So if you were thinking of spending like, I don't know, $200 of gasoline per week, well, maybe that $200 is actually $5 in electricity. So you can put that on a car payment for an EV. See what I'm getting at? So you need to count these things. This is another way of thinking. It's a very different way of thinking when thinking of are EVs more expensive to actually purchase. And then the maintenance on an electric vehicle. We did talk about this in a previous podcast, so if you want to go listen to that, no worries, go listen to it. It's there on our YouTube channel under the playlist While You Wait. The podcast that you wait to, that you want to wait to. Oh, this doesn't make any sense. The podcast that you listen to while you wait to charge your electric vehicle. Super easy. The lowest maintenance cost for any vehicle out there is Tesla. Tesla actually has the lowest maintenance cost from all vehicle. We're talking EV and non-EV all mixed together. Well, one of the biggest thing about electric vehicles is that they don't have the motor. Meaning no oil change, meaning no transmission. I mean, all of that they don't have. Filtration system. I mean, all of these things for the environment and all that. Electric vehicles don't have them. They just have a battery. And then yes, they have the tires, and yes, they have the brakes, but they don't really have much more than that. Okay, let's get back to the live comment section and see. It just seemed to be like a little bit of a thing happening between Richard and Dave. Yeah, let's dive into it. I think they're talking about. We're not sure. Okay, perfect.
Also, coming back to the cost of running, like gas versus electricity, you save average annually 37% if you have an EV instead of a gas car. So that's 37%. A lot. That's a lot for a lot of people.
So if you're purchasing an EV, you'll get kind of 37% difference. So if you have that money, well, you just decide where you want to spend it. But if you don't have it, well, you'll be saving that, meaning that you'll need, in a good way, to rearrange your budget to have 37% more money. Yeah, who doesn't want that, right? Everybody wants a little bit of extra money. Chris says, it's a gearbox oil, not for Tesla either. Mine has oil box change, and that is at 80,000 miles or 10 years, whichever comes first. So that's what Chris is saying. Chris is saying that, well, there is one electric vehicle, and that's mostly the Hyundais. You will need to change oil on those. But the other electric vehicles don't really have the oil change. Still, it's a lot less oil change than a gas vehicle. So thank you for bringing that up again, Chris. I mean, we need to repeat all these things because some people might have not been there for our previous podcasts. Yeah. Richard Johnson says, are you French? I'm from Quebec originally. That's where the accent comes from. So yes, I am of a French-speaking province in that sense. Perfect. So are electric vehicles more expensive to purchase and maintain? Well, to purchase they might be, but again, if you're looking to buy a more expensive luxury car, I mean, the price point is for you to decide. So if you don't want to pay much, you won't anyways. So you choose, super easy. Are you ready for myth number 3? Piper, and you are listening to While You Wait, the podcast that talks about things related to electric vehicles and, of course, the future of vehicles in general. We are debunking 5 myths about electric vehicles. We went over the limited range. Are electric vehicles more expensive than gasoline vehicles? And now we're going to talk about, are EVs really environmentally friendly, or is that false because they rely on fossil fuel for their electricity? I know, it's crazy, right? But it makes a lot of sense, okay? That some people might think that EVs are not environmentally friendly, okay? But this is about debunking myths. So, the carbon footprint on EVs is just lower. It's lower in general. Now, if you're like, Piper, there's the batteries, there's all of those things. Okay, think of it that way. You are a human that lives on the planet Earth, which is not flat, by the way, and, well, you are breathing this air and eating this food and doing all these things. And right now, one of the problems we have is climate change. It's the fact that there was some pollution there, and there still is, and this pollution is changing the world. It's changing the ecosystem. It's changing a whole bunch of things. I mean, humans are changing it too, but let's just talk about it from that point of view. That being said, well, all of this CO2, all of the stuff we are outputting into the air, yes, the cows, they fart, that too, but we won't go there. We're gonna keep it EV related and vehicles and cars. Now, one way to really make a difference fast is for no one to drive gasoline cars. If everybody stops driving gasoline cars and we only have electric vehicles, well, the emissions of CO2 are going to lower drastically, just like during the pandemic when nobody was getting out of their homes, houses, apartment, all of those things. You could see the sky clearer. I mean, some of the smog on those huge cities like New Delhi and even like places in Japan and China and even here in Vancouver, you could see the Taj Mahal, which you couldn't before. I mean, this is real and it's fast to implement. It doesn't necessitate something else. And it impacts the air you breathe right here, right now. So if you have an electric vehicle, you're not actually emanating any CO2, like literally. You can plug it in your garage, you can let it run, and everything's gonna be okay. No little canary is gonna die. That being said, everything related to EVs is more, carbon footprint lower. After that, how you outsource or source that electricity, so that energy to put into your electric vehicle. Meaning electricity, yes, can be made by fossil fuels, like the Chevy Volt. So the Chevy Volt, the way it worked was that this vehicle, this Chevy Volt, had a battery, a big battery, kind of big battery for that time, and a gasoline generator. So it was not really gasoline motor, it was a gasoline generator, like you've had when you went to the cabin in the woods with your uncles and all of that. Now, you would put the gasoline in the generator, and then the generator will transform that energy into electricity and replenish the battery. Meaning it was not an hybrid, because the way hybrids work, you have the actual battery and you have the motor, the real gasoline motor. And then the gasoline motor is going to do its thing with the gasoline. And at a certain point, if you're driving very, very low, it's just going to use that battery power. And then when you're driving faster speeds, it's going to run on to the actual gas motor, which the Volt was not like that at all. The Volt was always on a battery. It was always battery power, but this electricity came from gasoline, and that's where you need to be careful. So who's the provider of electricity where you are? Where does that electricity come from? It can come from renewable energy, which would make your EV even greener. The grass was greener. So you can do that. You can have, if your country or your state uses a lot of green energy, like windmills, solar panels, and things like that, meaning that the electricity you would get to plug in your EV would be green. So you would get all of that super green energy. Super nice. But that's not the fact for everybody. Like some people, they're already there. So there are other ways to get electricity, and some countries use coal or gas or things like that, like natural gas extraction to produce electricity. Meaning, if you're looking at it in an environmental way and you want to get EVs because you want to be environmentally friendly, well, that's the thing you need to put into consideration. Think about it. Now, Carl says, we are supplied by the Tennessee Valley Authority. I think it's all nuclear and solar now. See, which is pretty good. So fossil fuel, yes, can be that. There's also here in British Columbia, we have hydroelectricity. It's something that's good. I mean, in general, it's kind of half and half. Hydroelectricity is kind of not bad, not 100% renewable, because they still need to create these dams and these things like that. But to say that an electric vehicle would not affect the environment like in a good way, that's a myth. That's a myth. And we're just debunking myths. Sai, do you have something to add to this one?
Just that even if your EV, like where you are, even if they're using natural gas to make electricity, the carbon footprint, according to research, would still be lower compared to if everyone used gas.
Okay.
Yeah.
So still lower. So even if the electricity that you're putting in your vehicle is from natural gases and things like that, your carbon footprint will still be lower than if you purchase a gas vehicle. Imagine that. So there, it's been debunked. It is extremely small portion compared to fossil fuel. I think what Richard is trying to say is exactly what we just said. Okay, leave a comment, people. Because, well, not everybody wants to purchase an electric vehicle for the environment necessarily, but it's just an added bonus. I mean, if you're thinking about purchasing one because of the technology it offers, the comfort, and all of these other things, well, you're just at the same time saying that, oh, it's great. I'm not literally putting out CO2 in the environment right here, right now. It's good for everybody. Everybody wants to breathe clean air in the cities. Plus now with the wildfires and all of that, oh my God, there's not enough clean air for everybody. I mean, a great day in Vancouver will still have an actual air quality of 3, which is not that good. It's not that good. And I mean, like I said, there's not that much smog out there. It's pretty small. Okay, I'm Piper. This podcast is called While You Wait to Charge Your Electric Vehicle. You get informed and entertained on anything and everything related to electric vehicles. Yes, and we are talking about 5 myths about electric cars that we are debunking right here, right now. What have you seen? What so far from this podcast are you getting? What did you know? What did you not know? It's time for you to comment in the live chat section. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel, because when you subscribe, you receive a little notification. Bling, bling. And well, your devices, that's going to tell you that we are live right here, right now. So you can come in and interact with us when we are live. If you miss it, no worries. You can always, well, come back to it. It's on our channel and the playlist is called While You Wait. We have Carl who says, Chattanooga, okay, that's an interesting name, becomes a smog fishbowl of air pollution in the summer. Oh, do we know where Chattanooga is, Sai? Have you ever been there? Like,
I have never been there.
It's a cool name. It's a cool name. I think they should do a music festival there. It sounds like they could do a music festival there.
It's a city in Tennessee.
Oh, okay. So a city in Tennessee is really polluted. That's what Carl says. But then Carl also said that they mostly use nuclear and solar power to actually, well, bring electricity or energy to the people of that city. Very interesting. Okay, what else have we got here? RA says, what are your next road trip plans? Okay, so next road trip plans are not planned yet. Meaning that right here, right now, well, we are doing these live podcasts to get our 3,000 watch hours on YouTube to monetize this. But thank you to all of our amazing patrons, yes, who are supporting us on Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/2girls1electriccar. Oh, and by supporting us over there, well, you allow us to produce more podcasts like this one, but also, yes, long-form videos that are uploaded on our YouTube channel. These long-form videos are exactly like RA said, they're us going on road trips, adventures. We test and review superchargers all over the place. We also will talk about things, electricity. I mean, we go on to people's cars and ask them questions, interview them. So it's a very community-friendly channel, and we are developing it because it is very recent at the time of this recording. Meaning, if you want to see more of our road trips and things like that, make sure you support us by watching and listening in to all of the podcasts that we put out and all of our long form videos. That would accelerate greatly our growth on YouTube and make it possible for us to travel more in a more near future. So that being said, thank you very much for everybody who already supports us. And AK Fumbler says that Chattanooga choo-choo. Don't know it. I have no idea what these guys are talking about. Yeah, but Chris says it's near Nashville. And then, okay, then Canadian, yeah, we're in Canada right now. I'm right here in Vancouver, British Columbia at the time of this recording. And everybody's dropping in what time it is when you're there. Perfect. This is good. This is good. We are talking about 5 myths about electric cars, and we are debunking them. We are now at myth number 4. Get ready for myth number 4. Electric cars take too long to charge. Way too long to charge. I don't want to wait that long. There's literally one person in the live comment section that told me it took 6 hours to charge an EV, and then the battery would just explode in your face.
12 hours.
Is it 12 hours? It's 12 hours. So 12 hours, and then the battery would explode in your face. Now, it has been shown that batteries don't explode in people's faces. That has like not a thing. And, well, the other thing is, it doesn't take 6 hours or 12 hours to charge an electric vehicle. Not anymore. Maybe in the 1900s. But no, not anymore. Now, to charge an electric vehicle, there's a lot of things that happen. I'm going to share a bit of my opinion on this because, well, I do own a Tesla Model X. And so this Tesla Model X is a 2016 model, meaning that it has a battery range of 330 kilometers. Now, in miles, I'm not sure how much that does. Sai, can we Google that? Like 330 kilometers in miles.
300.
Because we have a lot of USA people there. A lot of USA people. Thank you for dropping by if you're from the US. I mean, if you're from anywhere in the world, make sure that you comment. Tell us where you're from. We got people from Tennessee, Nashville, same but different.
320 kilometers.
Yeah, 200
is 198.84 miles.
Okay, thank you. Meaning that you would have that range. So that is the range I have right now. Unless you're going on a road trip, this range will be enough to get in the city, in your town. I mean, I don't know what type of cabin in the woods you live in, but if to go to your nearest grocery store, it takes you 100 miles, I mean, that's far. That's very far. That's not most people's situation. So yes, like, the takes too long to charge can be a thing. But let me explain where I feel like it's not an issue anymore. Like, not at all. First things, the infrastructure. So there are superchargers a little bit everywhere. There's going to be a supercharger near you. Meaning that just here in Vancouver, British Columbia, like downtown Vancouver, there are 2 superchargers. Tesla ones, there's more, but we're talking Tesla right here, right now. One is at the Pacific Center parking lot. You need to pay for that one. There's another one on Burrard, which is also downtown. That one says you need to pay, but most people actually just like park there. I made a video about this. If you want to look at it, it's on the channel. It's called Free Parking. So you will find it quite easily. This place you plug, you park, but it doesn't have this kind of, scans your license plate when you get in and out. Meaning that if you don't pay, well, of course they can ticket you. And they do say that even if you're in your car and you're charging, they can ticket you. Just make sure you're not there when the meter maid is there and you will be fine.
The next to
exactly.
to pay for,
exactly.
Like my card doesn't work.
But so when you're there, just go near the little ticketing booth. That's there. It's all like generated, and just do like you're looking for your card and your cash for about what, like 20 minutes. That's kind of what it takes to charge. So too long to charge. Okay, that might be true on 110 volt. Output or outlet, or it might be true on a 240 volt outlet. But if you're going at a supercharger, they're called supercharger. Get it? This is you supercharge. You charge super fast. And what Dave, the Uber slave, says. Okay, so are you a slave of Uber, or like we're not sure? So
he's using electricity to make Uber, maybe.
Maybe.
Model 3.
Exactly. So Dave, the Uber slave, says 10% to 80% in 25 minutes for my Model 3. See, this is fast. 25 minutes is really fast. You don't have much time to do many things except for listen to while you wait. The podcast you listen to while you wait for your electric vehicle to charge. And 25 minutes, the podcast lasts an hour and a half, meaning you got way enough of time to be entertained during that time. Plus, you can blow us up on your Tesla big screen. We are there because YouTube is there on the screen. So make sure you bookmark us for next time you charge. Chris Pankage says, it does at your house on the 240 line, Piper. It takes at least 7 hours to charge mine. Okay, so Chris has the 240 volt outlet. And for him to charge his Kona, it takes him 7 hours. Again, that's a nighttime. So that's a night. So of course, if you're going somewhere, coming back, it's a bit different, but 7 hours, if you take your car during the day, you do a little bit of a day trip, kind of, and then you come back, and it's completely depleted, you can charge it, and the next morning it will be ready.
Even if it's not full, maybe it's enough.
That's another reason, even if it's not full. So the thing is, your gas vehicle is never full. You never keep that tank full, unless you're like, really rich. I mean, nobody does that. Nobody goes to refuel when the gas tank is like at one little step depleted. So what you're gonna do is fill up in electricity your car to the means that you need it. Meaning most EVs of previous to right now, they told you to charge them 80% for your daily activities. You're never gonna go under 10% battery, and you're never going to need to go at 100% unless you're road tripping. So if you're going on a road trip, or you know you will be going, let's say for me, at 400 kilometers away, and my Tesla Model X has 330 kilometers, well, I'm going to need to charge in the middle for sure. So I could either fill it up before I leave, or I could just stop earlier during that route to fill it up again to get to my destination. So those are things you need to think about that are completely different than gasoline vehicles, of course. That being said, do they take too long to charge? That's the myth we are trying to debunk right here, right now. So we talked about fast charging station. We talk about less fast, meaning the 240 volt, which would take you in the vicinity of 7 hours to charge your electric vehicle to the fullest. And now if we're talking about the 110 volt, I mean, you're really just plugging it in the wall, kind of like a hair dryer. Well, that would take you 2.5 days, maybe 3-4 days, depending on how much range you have. Again, it's all about the flow. That being said, there's another thing you need to consider, is that most people who do purchase electric vehicles have houses or places to plug them. So they will use that 110 outlet to plug it. And then it's always full, meaning you come back home, you plug it. It's like having the gas station at your house or at your apartment or wherever you're at. So they won't never need to actually go to superchargers, and it will never take too long to charge because their car's already gonna be ready when they leave. It's gonna be filled up. And that's the case of one of my friends who has a Tesla Model S, and she bought in 2017. She has free electricity on it, but she quite frankly never goes to Tesla superchargers because she has a home, meaning that she's always just plugs it in, and then if they go on road trip, they're gonna stop at superchargers, but if not, doesn't need to. Yes?
5 says, can you have a battery and with solar?
Oh.
Tesla got a battery so they can fill up when it's...
Yes, that is totally true. So Favbeats, thank you for your question. Favbeats says, can you get a battery with the solar panels installed at your house? Yes, okay, so Tesla does sell what is called a Powerwall, and that is a battery pack, but it's a huge battery pack. Like, it's a battery pack that can actually power your home, and it can also, recharge your Tesla. Now, this battery pack, you can kind of program it so that it charges itself on the grid, yes, on your house electricity. So if you're Fortis, BC Hydro, whoever you're with, but it charges when the low costs are there, if you implement it that way. So some people where electricity is a bit more expensive, like in California, they don't charge this big battery pack, during big hours, so high consumption times, because that's going to cost them a lot more money per kilowatt hour. Now, you can plug this type of battery to any type of, energy generating, meaning a solar panel, a windmill. It doesn't really matter to what you plug it, as long as it's receiving this energy, it's going to store it. So this generator is going to store it, and then you can use it to power your home or to recharge your Tesla vehicle. So that is one point. Yeah, that's something you can do, and then you are really more of the off the grid type of person if you're depending on your very own independent system, like solar panel, windmill, that are directly connected to this big generator. And I think that was the point with Elon Musk doing this, was that you could be self-sufficient with your own electricity in that sense. Now, Chris Pankotch adds, let's say 300 miles full, but you only charge to 80% and never go under 20. Sometimes you go over 20, but like it has happened to me. But quite frankly, the Tesla will tell you where to go charge, and it doesn't want to get to like that 6%. Usually it doesn't want to get under 10%. So it's going to tell you to charge beforehand. And then what else do we have here? 300. So to go to 300, 40% equal 180 unsealable, no range anxiety. Yeah, so range anxiety and all of that is a thing of the past, people. It's a thing of the past. Okay, so from my personal experience, most people who think that charging takes too long are really the people that don't have electric vehicles, because an hour and a half goes by really fast. And that's if you're charging to 100%, like my Tesla Model X. And then with the new supercharger V4 from Tesla, with the new batteries that are being implemented every day, and well, the new software updates, it really goes by fast. Within 25 minutes, you can be charged enough for everything you're gonna do on a daily routine. We're talking daily commute and all that.
Like right now, the Tesla is at 92. It's like when your gas is at a quarter full. You're not freaking out.
Exactly.
Fuel it when
Exactly. So right now, my Tesla Model X has 92 kilometers on it. So meaning it's at 92. It's a bit like it's close to being in the orange or the yellow. Usually it goes in the yellow at like 60 kilometers. But that being said, I have Tesla superchargers within not even 5 kilometers. Like I think it's literally 2 kilometers. But since you need to count in that you're going to be in traffic and all that, it's going to deplete a little bit more the battery. But that being said, there's 100 kilometers on the Tesla will get me to a supercharger.
I ran with gas with less than that.
Exactly, I ran with gas with less than that. Because you're broke, and so you put just $5 of gasoline to kind of get back home and back to the gas station tomorrow because you're waiting for your paycheck. That really happens. So we are debunking the 5 myths. Well, one of the 5 myths. There are more. If you have more, please make sure you put it in a comment about electric cars. We have gone over so far limited range. Electric cars are more expensive and they cost more to maintain, that they're not environmentally friendly, and that they take too long to charge. Of course, let's just recap that they take too long to charge, meaning that yes, they take longer than filling up your gas vehicle, unless you're a trucker. But if you fill up your gas vehicle, it is pretty fast right now. But with the new Tesla superchargers that are the V4 ones, these can charge your full Tesla almost to full capacity within less than 10 minutes. So we're talking stopping at a Tesla supercharger and being there for 10 minutes. You get out of the car, you plug it, you wait 10 minutes. That's like filling up your car and taking the nozzle and holding it for a good at least 5 minutes sometimes to fill it all up. This is starting to be very similar in both sides. And it's faster than paying if you didn't have your prostat check. Oh, peeing. Okay, peeing. Yeah, the debit. Pipeline, people. Pipeline. Let's get stuck in the pipeline. It is true. Okay. Now, it is...
Also, a point
yes.
here.
Yes.
Because someone mentioned, Favbeats mentioned if there's a vehicle that has like solar panels attached to it, so it charges on the go. Yeah. And someone, I just checked, Fisker Ocean, the electric vehicle, they have a solar panel roof. So when you go in the sun, it charges so you can charge your battery.
So if you have like an outdoor home, let's say a home and you have a driveway and all that, well, that would be a better vehicle for you.
Yeah, if you live in a place that gets a lot of sun, then it might be worth it.
Yeah, definitely not Vancouver. Definitely not Vancouver. But I mean, if you are living somewhere, yes, in California, in the desert or something like that, and you're getting all of this sun, then that'd be an interesting vehicle to kind of get into. Ooh, okay. Electric Brian says, hey, Electric Brian, thank you so much for your awesome tweet. Yeah, we did see that. So Electric Brian was watching While You Wait, the podcast you're listening to right now, from his Tesla, while he was waiting to charge up. So you can do that too. Make sure you go check out our playlist and that you subscribe to this channel for any new videos that comes out. You don't miss it. He says, 99% of the time, it takes 10 seconds to charge. Get to your house after work, plug it in, and go inside. Done. It's fully charged for work tomorrow.
That's it. It's a way to say it.
It's a way to say it. It's a good way to say it. The fact is, if you do own a house and you have a plug there, you're always going to be at full capacity, meaning fully charged. It's really, you will never really need to go to the superchargers or any chargers exterior to your home. Now, if you are one person that lives in the city and, I mean, you park in the street or something like that, or your parkade does not have electricity, then of course you'll need to go recharge at a supercharger and then park your vehicle. That's a possibility. That's what I have to do because there are no EV charger in like where I'm at. But for all new constructions in British Columbia, they have to have EV chargers now. Meaning that if you are to looking into an apartment or something like that, you just need to ask if they have EV charging available for a fee or not a fee, and know if that is possible. So when, you know, some people, they want 2-bedroom and a charger. Other people want 2-bedroom and no chargers. You can always ask for this, and it's becoming, again, the law in new constructions, meaning that it's not even going to be an asking matter very, very soon. Okay, we have here... Nope, not sure that works. Okay, perfect. Chris Pankich says, I almost never use public chargers. Only on road trips. Again, road trips, this makes sense because you're leaving your house. You're not going to come back to your house to go further away. This is no. Most people don't drive 300 miles a day, and most don't drive 150 miles each way to work. This is completely true. There's very little point in thinking of it that way unless you're always on the road. You're one of these I don't know, on the road salesman or something like that, then you can definitely find a vehicle in the EV that has more range and that is faster to charge, and you know where you're going. So it's just about knowing what you need and then doing that. But when you're purchasing your electric vehicle, you need to not think about the fact that, oh, it doesn't have that much range. Whereas you won't be thinking about that when you buy a gas vehicle. Like, how many liters can I get from this? Usually, it's not something we do unless you are already road tripping. You're already one of these people. So that's it for take too long to charge. Bam, debunked. Doesn't take too long to charge, right, Sai?
No, it doesn't at all. Especially if you're smart about it.
Yeah, especially if you're smart. Everything goes better if you're smart. I'm Piper, and this podcast is called While You Wait. To charge your EV, we inform and entertain you about EV news, but also get into myths, debunk things, and talk about what people are talking about in the social media, in the whole entire world about all of this. Myth number 5. Are you ready? Not as safe as gas cars. Yeah, the battery explosion thing. We're going there. Now, some people are saying that electric vehicles are not as safe as gasoline vehicles. Well, why would you say that? Because, well, electric vehicles go through the same exact safety tests as gas vehicles. Yes, they have to because they're going on the road. So unless you DIY'd it in your garage and you're thinking of getting it out on a Sunday, there is no way an electric vehicle is not gonna pass these tests. Now, I know where you're gonna go, because I know you. You're gonna say, well, it passed the test in the US, but not in Europe. Okay, well, if you live in Europe, you are bound by the laws of Europe, and if you live in the United States of America, you're bound by the laws of the United States of America. And the car dealers and all these things are the same. So yes, some vehicles will not cross over because they don't meet these criteria. If you find that the criteria in your country are not safe enough, well, please move countries. Like Lada. Yeah. There are some countries that, there's still 6 on a scooter and they don't wear helmets. So this can happen anytime, anywhere. Safety tests. They all do the safety test and they're all ranked. Yeah. For safety. Now there are a few different places that do the safety test, and there are different books on it and all that, so you can always read those. Electric Brian says EVs are safer, less rollover risk. Yes, I did read that. Less chances of car fire. Even if it does somehow catch fire, it takes a lot longer to start flaming up. Unlike combustible vehicles, we're talking gas vehicles here, they just combust up in flames.
A fire when you're a kid.
Just like when you start a fire when you're a kid. Yeah, like a campfire. Poof! It burns, people. It burns. Well, okay, so let me explain the EVs are safer. EVs are safer. Most EVs are newer, for sure, because EVs have been around for less amount of time, meaning the past 10 years. So you will have, if you do purchase an EV, even though it's old, if you purchase a car that is even older and maybe not a premium car, there's chances that it's not going to be as safe, most definitely. That being said, the rollover risk. So the thing with a battery or an EV is that the battery is really, really heavy. And when we're saying heavy, like, you know, a whale heavy. So that battery pack is in the bottom. Unlike your engine, which is in the front trunk kind of your vehicle, the battery pack is all at the bottom of the vehicle, making their gravity point of these vehicles lower. And you all know what happens when your gravity point is lower. Well, you have less risks of rolling over. That's why sumos, when you see the sumos, you know, they're really like crouched. Yeah, they're really crouched over. They don't want to be really tall, or else somebody's gonna get them in the knees and bam, they're gonna fall and create earthquakes and tsunamis, and we don't want that. So that being said, the rollover risk is less likely within any electric vehicle, even the SUVs, because we do see a lot of SUVs rolling over. But the Tesla Model X, you'd be surprised to know that it's one of the only SUVs that has a really good, I guess, star quote rating on rollover. It doesn't want to roll over. It's so heavy, its belly, it's kind of so heavy that every time it wants to roll over, it comes back on its four wheels. Yeah. So it's one of the only EVs that has like a good rating on rollover in that sense. Like it doesn't roll over. So now that you know all of this, like the battery, it's there. Will it catch fire? We've seen a few of those incidents happen, but we've seen cars with combustion engines catch fire too. It happens sometimes. Now, when we got those statistics, I mean, we've been seeing that it's not real. Okay. And I'm pretty sure Sai has some statistics for us about this.
I do have some. So overall, if you like have identical situations of a crash,
yes,
EVs are actually 40% lower in injury or causing damage.
That's a lot.
Same
40%.
Identical situation. But what's interesting is for fires, if you're just talking fires, there's for gas cars, according to data, there were fires into from 100,000 cars, 1530 caught fire for gas cars.
Okay.
Compared to only 25 per 100,000 EVs.
That's a lot less.
But the hybrids were the most. They caught the fire 3475 per 100,000, so even more than gasoline.
Okay. So hybrids you want to stay away from.
Yeah,
right?
That's what it seems, yeah.
All right, and then EVs are, they're less flammable, I guess, in that sense. And then combustion engines can still catch fire. Of course, you want the safest car. You're going to be in it. Everybody wants the safest. It makes a lot of sense. But with these statistics, you can make a better choice. A choice for you not to, catch fire. But it is not true. It is not true that the electric vehicles will just catch flame. And from what we've seen in these statistics, they are 40% less likely to cause injury. Meaning if you're 1, 2, 3, 4 in the car. Okay, let's do 10. So you're 10 people in your car. Well, there's kind of, 4 people that are going to get injured on 10. It's a good statistic. It's not that much. Okay, if you didn't get any of this, it's because you're not focusing. So make sure that you focus. Okay, we have, I generally dislike catching fire. That's come from Directrix 1. Yeah, most people don't like that, except for a few monks. But that's a story for another time. Myth number 5, not as safe as gas vehicles. Thinking that electric vehicles are not as safe as gas vehicle is just not true. The thing is, it was very, very media-sized. So meaning in the media, we've seen a lot of these things related to electric vehicles because, it was new. So people were freaking out when that happened. But there were also a lot less electric vehicles on the roads and all of that. So you need to go with proportions, people. And that's what is really important. And that's what SACE data brought to us. Is that the proportion of things. Always go with the proportion. Okay, 2 might be a lot, but it's 2 compared to what? Because 2 compared to 1 million is not that much. 2 compared to 3? Ooh, that's a lot. That is a lot. So the 5 myths debunked about electric vehicles. Let's get back to them. Let's do a little recap. If you want to add anything, now's your time to shine in the live comment section. Come on, yeah. Tell us about your knowledge, tell us about your experience, tell us about anything you want to add. So more myths that we might have not covered right here, right now, that you want us to uncover with you. We still got time. Do it right now. I'm gonna put a little bit of music. Yeah. Come on. Guess this party started. So the 5 myths we have uncovered are limited range. Debunked. Electric vehicles do not have a limited range. That electric cars are more expensive to maintain. No, it's not true. And to purchase, yes and no. So electricity is often a lot cheaper than gasoline, meaning you will save on the long term on your electric vehicle. They're not environmentally friendly. That is not true. The carbon footprint of an electric vehicle is lower. It's just lower, people. It's lower. That's how it is. Myth number 4, they take too long to charge. That is false. They don't take too long to charge. It's just a different way of filling up at the gas station. Most people actually plug them in their homes, so they never really wait for it to charge. But while you wait to charge your EV at a supercharger or anywhere else, you can always enjoy this podcast because it is available on our channel underneath the playlist called While You Wait in the podcast section. Thank you so much. And then myth number 5, EVs are not safe. Gasoline cars are safer. Well, according to data, gasoline cars do combust more and EVs even more. Hybrids even more. What a lapsus. Okay, what have we got in the live comment section right now? Cold weather equals shrinkage. Just like man. Yes, cold weather does equal a shrinkage in a battery, meaning that you will have less range if it's colder. But again, that's not an issue. You just need to plug a little bit more often. It's a bit like if you're always just putting $5 in your gas vehicle. Well, if you're always putting $5 in it, you're gonna have to go fill up more often.
In the winter, it costs you more gas anyway.
And in the winter, yes, the gas does cost more because you need to heat the car. You need to sometimes plug the battery in your car when it comes to -20. So if you do plug the vehicle, it will warm up, meaning the battery would always stay warm if you keep it plugged. So there's not really any big shrinkage like that. The things that we've seen with the US is that most people were not ready for it. They didn't know about it or all that because they were like in New York and it doesn't really snow in New York. So they were caught off guard. But if you do live somewhere where it snows, like when I bought my Chevy Volt, I was still living in Quebec. So it gets to -20 in the winter and I had no issue. You would just have a bit less range and plug it more often. That's it. Nothing crazy. Electric Brian says LFP batteries are even safer and they are being used more and more. Sai, can we check like LFP batteries? Just see if what they're about. I think the LFP batteries are the newer batteries that they're using in BYD, that electric vehicle company, and in the newer Tesla models. So lithium iron phosphate batteries. Okay.
They offer a lot of benefits compared to lead acid batteries and other lithium batteries.
Okay.
Longer lifespans, no maintenance, extremely safe and lightweight.
Oh, lighter weight. That's a good one. That's a really good one
and they charge more efficiently as well.
Okay. So see, we are getting there. We're getting to that place where the batteries are going to be better. Just like the gas was better. Before that, the gas had so much lead in it that people were hangrier. Yeah, I know. You can fact check that. It's really, very interesting and scary at the same time. Now, Chris Pankage adds a fun fact, and that is that you can meet hot chicks at the superchargers. Well, definitely, because I'm going to be there. While you charge, while I charge, I actually film videos. And review the superchargers there. So if you see me at your local supercharger, make sure that you come and talk to me. I will probably interview you and you will be famous on the channel. We love to interact with the people in the EV community. If you don't have an EV, don't worry. This channel is open to everybody who might just want information on it or is looking into getting their first EV. It's all good. We want everybody to be talking about it. Now, we need to get into those myths that we haven't talked about in this podcast right here, right now. So if you do have a myth that was not discussed, it's time for you to put it in so that we can talk about it. Now, what have we got here? We have Directrix 1. Even though I love my Tesla, I find it hard to recommend EVs to people who live in cold climates. In an apartment, though, because they don't generally have space to plug at their apartments. That's a very good point from Directrix. So again, yes, if you do own an apartment and there's no place for you to park because it's like a parkade or something like that. And so you park there, but you can't plug your EV. Well, then you will need to go to the superchargers. Again, if it's winter, or watch guerrilla charging, where you don't need to pay for your electricity at all. That being said, if you are in this situation and there is winter, well, I mean, it's still, your car's still going to be inside, which is kind of good. Now, if you have an apartment and you don't have a parkade and your car is outside, it's an EV and all that, well, that's a bit the same complexity of having a gas vehicle. If it gets too cold, there's a chance that it's just not going to start because it's too cold and the battery's going to have died on you. Yeah, that happened to me a lot. Okay, what we got here? What are we talking about? They should have not gone with a frunk and instead put a gas motor in there for passive generation while you're away. Okay? Also for heating. Now that's a Chevy Volt. Yeah, that's true, Chris. The Chevy Volt is exactly that. And then, yeah, it kind of defeats the point other than the HP and torque on an EV. That's why they discontinued them. The extra weight negated the HP and range or gas mileage. Meaning that, yeah, the actual Chevy Volt was discontinued. You can't buy it new anymore. It's not possible. It was an amazing vehicle. I loved it. But that being said, if you are looking to get all of that, well, range, and no charge time because you are in a special situation where you might be on the road a lot, maybe an hybrid would be the best thing for you. So when you are at these like really low speeds, you are using the battery, meaning your gas consumption would be a little bit lower. So you would be saving on gasoline, that's for sure. And then when you go on the road like so, well, you would be on the gas, meaning that you could refuel wherever you want, whenever you want. That is definitely only if you're road tripping long places and you're going maybe to places where the infrastructure is not there. We're talking like northern Canada. There's a little bit less superchargers over there. Of course, if there's less people, there's just less infrastructure in general. So that could be a good point. What else have we got here? We have Electric Brian who says, the efficiency of my Tesla from September to March was 233 watt per minute, I guess, per mile. Okay, yeah, that might be per mile. So 233 watt per mile. I had a trip meter set for December to March and the efficiency was 240 watt per hour. Okay, so what he's saying is that September to March, so that's kind of like spring, and then from September to December, which is a bit, okay, we're talking like more fall, December to March. So that's winter. And the efficiency was 240 in winter and 233 September to March. So, I mean, you kind of have it there. So September would have been a bit lower. And then December, if you add December, then different. Yeah, let's call it like that. So winter in Northeast US wasn't a significant difference. So yeah, definitely not enough to think about not purchasing an EV in that sense. I mean, we're only seeing what, a 4 watt difference? This is not crazy. What if everyone lives in their Tesla instead of apartments and everything just one big charger?
The new van life.
Yeah, it's kind of the new hashtag van life for life. Yeah.
Environmental friendly van life.
Yes. Plus you have like this air filter. You have camp mode. So you can just live in there. It's all electric. I mean, there's really no downfall except for no toilet. It's just a toilet.
That's a big downfall.
I know, right? It's a big downfall. But some people can do it. I don't have no idea how. I'm not one of these people.
They're using the cat box.
They're using the cat litter. Yeah, they have that. This is crazy. They have like cat litters and hashtag van life for life. Okay, I'm not doing this. Even though we are gonna go on road trips and do many type of different things with the Tesla Model X, give you reviews, go to meetups and things like that. We will not be doing hashtag van life. No. This is like, we'll do cheap motels instead, or cheap motels. Hotel, motel, Holiday Inn. They live in their Teslas waiting to charge them. Been there, done that. So that is from Chris, who has done a lot of mileage. I mean, if you're doing a road trip and you're young and you don't have money and your parents lend you their Tesla and it's free electricity, well, all you're gonna need to really like pay for is a shower sometimes if you really want one. But if not, you could definitely sleep in the car, purchase only food. You'll have internet. And go to YMCA because you'll have internet, you'll have free electricity charging. I mean, in case something happens on the road, you'll need to pay for that, but there's not really any maintenance. There's not a car wash if you feel like you want to wash your car. But that's it. That's it. It's going to be very, very non-costly road trip in that sense. Chris says, yes, road trip to Florida, only be like 15 charges. Only. Well, okay, so the thing is, with the new chargers, like I said, and with more chargers being available, it's going to take less time to charge. It's going to be as fast very, very soon as filling up your gas vehicle. So the podcast while you wait for an hour and a half to charge your EV is going to have to be 10 minutes. But we're not there yet. Most chargers still take, well, even as superchargers, if you want to go full charge, close to an hour and a half, depending on your battery and depending on if you charge to 100%. That is the big depending. Because you can definitely charge to 50%, charge to 80%, and just need about a half hour, 45 minutes. Plus, with the very, very new Tesla superchargers, that goes down to like 10 minutes for almost 80% charge, sometimes 100% charge. And well, like we were saying about the new batteries, the new batteries allow you to charge faster, and well, they degrade less faster too. With new batteries like this, we will see a bit of a change in a lot of things. Yes, so the battery degradation is something to keep in mind. But again, we are changing and evolving with all of this every single day, which makes it super mega interesting. So if you're here right now and you have another myth that you want to debunk, or you have a myth that you think we haven't talked about, come on, put it in. Sai, did you think about any other myths or something?
No. Oh,
no. Yes.
You can't make coffee.
Coffee?
Yeah. So that I don't have to use my hands or anything, so it just makes coffee for me.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah,
okay.
It'd be so nice.
It would be nice. So for all electric vehicles to have a coffee maker in them.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
just push a button and it
makes coffee.
Perfect espresso.
Well, just like the Rolls-Royce, they have like a champagne compartment. So they have like this little place where you put a bottle of champagne and there's two glasses there. So we could have that for all EVs. We could have like a coffee place.
Yeah, that'd be so cool. I would think of buying it.
Okay.
Or I would have to learn to drive first.
You would definitely have to learn to drive. Or wait for them to drive themselves.
Yeah, but that's illegal here. That's the other podcast. Watch that one.
Yeah, that's in the other podcast. The FSD is illegal. It's completely illegal in British Columbia. I know, this is crazy. So 5 myths about electric cars that have been completely debunked. We've got all of our usual that are there in the live comment section that are really inputting really great information, like Electric Brian, Chris Pankoch, and then we had also Directrix 1. Thank you so much for being there. Carl, who's there too, doesn't have necessarily... People who don't have EVs, again, don't feel like you are not needed. You're actually more needed. We need your input and your information, because all of us who own... Exactly, we need your questions. We need to know what is happening in the world, because still in Canada and the US, most people do not own an electric vehicle. This is still a fact. Now, Chris Pankage says you can buy an inverter for a Tesla, plug it to an accessory 12-volt supply, and plug in a Keurig. So the thing is, I tried with my Nespresso, but it seems that my Nespresso is a 1,200 watt. So that's way too much.
Too much for Keurig too.
And too much for Keurig too, because we looked it up.
It's the same wattage.
We looked it up. So it's the same wattage. So we are going to need to either buy a machine that is already... that already comes with the 12-volt, like for the car, so that you can plug in the cigarette dispenser. I guess we're gonna call it like that. That's what the inverter is for. Yeah, I know. That's why I have the inverter. But it's not, the inverter was not enough wattage. I only have a 500 watt inverter. And then Hero Turtle did say that that type of inverter, even when plugged in the cigarette, like that place, is not enough. Is not enough. Yeah, I know, Chris. I bought one. Like I said, I bought one. Some EVs have outlet in them. I know. I have 2 outlets in my Tesla Model X. One at the front, one at the back. I have the actual inverter. Yeah, I have it. It's a 500 watt, but it was not strong enough. Here we go. Thank you very much. This is the inverter that I bought. It's called BYGD inverter. And it's just not compatible for what I wanted to do with it. Get it? What I wanted to do with it. So I plugged it. If you can't see, don't worry. Like an inverter is just this little box, and then you have a plug that you plug in these 12-volt outlets in your car. And so that's what happened. Yeah. David Williams is saying, one thing I dislike, especially in Canada, is that many, if not most chargers here, price by time and not by power use. So slower charging means more expensive driving. Oh, very interesting. Yeah.
They charge by time,
but not by wattage.
Yeah, so it's slow and you need to wait another hour.
Yes, to fully charge.
Yeah, they need to rectify that.
They do need to rectify that because it's not a real price. I mean, it should depend on the kilowatt hour you are getting, because this is really like gasoline. You would pay here in Canada by price per liter. So depending on the amount of liters you take, well, that's how you are charged. This is the same thing for an electric vehicle. You would need to really charge by the kilowatt, because that's the output you're getting. Like this is what you're taking from the grid. Let's call it like that, the system. Interesting. And then Electric Brian says, yes, that is annoying and more expensive EV. So rich people can charge cheaper that way. Okay, great. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for being there. Don't forget that this live podcast is live at 12 p.m. Pacific time, or Pacific Daylight Saving Time in Vancouver, British Columbia. To make sure you catch it live, subscribe, and go listen to all of our podcasts. We have a podcast playlist that is called While You Wait. While you wait to charge your electric vehicle, we aim to entertain you and inform you about anything electric vehicle related. Thank you, Sai, for being with us.
Thank you so much. I had a great time.
Researcher and Piper are out. Bam!